Who are you? Who are you?
I'm Christian Torone. I'm a director, visual effects artist, filmmaker, and today I really want to challenge myself to recreate a scene from the pilot of one of my favorite shows, Severance. And I'm gonna.
Christian, you don't have $1 million budget or room for building sets or really anything. You're just a dude alone in his basement.
Yeah, that's all true. But I have a green screen, and I have Blender, and I think that's the next best thing. This is the scene I'm going to be recreating. It's when Helly R tries to exit the severed floor for the first time. The way I'm going to be recreating this scene is with the use of 3 separate programs. I'm going to be using Blender to create a 3D environment, After Effects for green screen comps, and then I'm going to be using SwitchLight Studio Pro, a new AI program that allows you to extract PBR textures from your plate footage. I'll get into that more when we get to it. For now, let's just start with a shot list. Alright, we have our shot list. That was easy. We have 6 shots. We have 1 shot with 2 people in it, and then the final shot is a POV from Helly's perspective of exiting, or at least trying to exit, the severed floor. This is going to require some camera tracking and has a bit of a different workflow than the rest of the shots, so I'm going to save that one for last. Alright, so before I shoot my plate footage, I'm going to recreate this hallway from Severance in Blender. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this quick time lapse. The hallway is pretty simple geometry. It's just a box extruded. So pretty simple. Definitely 3D environments can be extremely complicated, but part of the reason I chose this scene was because of the simplicity of creating the hallway. So yeah. Okay, so now that we have our 3D environment, it's time to shoot some plate footage. And that's also pretty simple. I review my shot list, I review the scene, and I shoot plates of me on a green screen trying to reenact exactly what Helly and Marcus are doing. I'm one person and I'm doing this all by myself, so I will be playing both Marcus and Helly R in this scene. Okay, so I filmed my plate footage, and now I'm going to bring it into After Effects. So we have After Effects open, we have our plate in, and now I'm going to use a program called Mask Prompter. Now Mask Prompter is a paid-for plugin for After Effects. It's an AI rotoscoping tool. You can get very similar results, if not the same result, using the native roto brush. It's just I've had Mask Prompter for a little bit now and I'm used to using it. And it also has a new text prompt option, which I'm going to show you how to use. So let's go up and grab Mask Prompter, put it on. Then we will add text input, type in whatever we want. We're going to type in man, then go back up to the text prompt, put in man, and just like that, the AI has now rotoscoped me, and I'm just going to put it on transparent, and we are ready to export. It's that quick and easy. I will say Mass Prompter doesn't always work like that. I would say it works like that maybe 60% of the time. You need some really high, nice contrasty footage. That's why I always use a green screen, even though I'm not using key light in After Effects. I still need the green screen to create contrast between me and the background. So we are ready to export. I'm gonna export this as a PNG sequence with alpha, and then I'm gonna rename it Severance Mark S Plate Cleanup Shot 1. Then I'm going to go to the PNG sequence with alpha, have it render, and here we go. And it is rendering. Now obviously this is sped up, but it works pretty fast. Okay, so now it is time to extract those PBRs using SwitchLight Studio Pro. So let's check on our PNG sequence. It looks good. Then let's go to SwitchLight Studio Pro. We'll log in. And then we're just gonna have to wait a little bit for this AI model to load. Okay, so the model is loaded. And let's go to Material Extraction. Once we're in a Material Extraction, click Select, and then click the first image of our PNG sequence. Then on Output, we'll create a new folder, and we'll call this folder Mark S Shot 1 PBR SW for SwitchLight. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's just telling SwitchLight where to put the footage and all of the different maps. Okay, so then you'll see this model verified, model load successfully, and you'll have to wait a little bit. And once it is done, we will go to our desktop again, and we will see the folder we created is full of these different maps. We got albedo, depth, key, normal, occlusion, roughness, and specular. Now that we have our maps, let's open up Blender. I like to start with a fresh new scene. I'm gonna delete the default cube as one always does, and then we will go to the SwitchLight Studio add-on. We'll find our output folder. There it is. Then we will accept and load PBR sequence. Okay, so now it is loaded in. Let's check the preview. Oh no, look what happened. Seems that it did not load in correctly and all of our footage is missing. But that's all right. We'll just go to the shader editor and relink this footage ourselves. So they're all labeled. So for albedo, we'll just go to our folder, pick our output folder, go to albedo, press A to select all of these. I'm shifting because I'm a loser. You can just hit A. Now, there's albedo. Now we're going to repeat this process 5 more times with all the others. Okay, now that it's all set up and re-input, you can see that my 3D light is now interacting with the 2D plate as if it was 3D. And that's the power of this technology, and that's really, really cool. Traditionally, you would have to make sure your plate footage has the same or similar lighting to your 3D scene, and you would have no way to change that lighting. The PBR extraction allows us some flexibility in post when it comes to the lighting of my 2D plate, now that it can react to these 3D lights. My plate is ready. I'm going to copy it and then paste it into my hallway scene. Okay, we're in my hallway scene. I already have one other plate in, ready to go. Let me grab my new plate, and then let me go into the camera and orient my new plate. So then I'm going to match it to my camera and how I want it to look in the scene. That looks pretty good. So now we can watch it down a little bit. Okay, so this looks good and it's ready to render. Basically, I just repeat that process with all my plates and all my shots, and then input it in the scene and line it up and do all the stuff. And then eventually we cut it all together and we have a scene. Now let's get to our final shot, when Helly R tries to exit the door. Now, with this shot, it's going to require some camera tracking. And I just found out about this new app called Omniscient. Now, Omniscient is an app that allows you to shoot footage on your phone, and it automatically camera tracks that footage. So I strapped my phone to my head, reenacted the best I could what Helly R does when she's at the door and pushes it open. Then I take that footage and import it using the Omniscient add-on. You can see it's already perfectly tracked in my Blender scene. I'm going to open After Effects and begin to mask out the hands using the same method I did with Mask Prompter, except this time I can't use the text edit prompt. So instead I'm using Mask Prompter's normal tools by frame selecting my hands to mask them out. I'm then going to export it and input it into my Blender scene. Now that it's in my scene, I'm just going to pair my footage, my masked out footage, with the camera and line it up perfectly. So this is me lining it up, making sure it's seamless. All right, it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to put it into my hallway scene and line it up with the shot. All right, and now, after a lot of work that you don't get to see, my shot is ready to render. All right, the time is now. Let's take a look at my recreation of the scene from Severance when Helly R tries to exit the severed floor for the first time. Enjoy. Well, there you have it. That's my recreation of the scene where Helly R tries to exit the severed floor for the first time. You know, it's janky. The rotoscoping could be better, but I'm happy with it, and I learned a lot. And I've definitely struggled with perfectionism when it comes to filmmaking. I think a lot of filmmakers struggle with that. And I'm creating this channel to kind of fight that and just release stuff and make stuff and not really care that it's not perfect. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you. Hell yeah. And the fact that you're even hearing this means you've watched the whole thing, which, wow, thank you. You know, like, comment, subscribe, that thing. You know, you can follow me on Instagram at CG Terone. Also, you can, you know, if you're in the New York State area and you're a filmmaker and want to collaborate or do something, DM me on Instagram. You know, I'm always open to making stuff. I just really want to make stuff. So please, and yeah, thanks for watching. More to come.